As I was mapping out this video in my head while rewatching 5 centimeters per second, I wanted to write about life's unfairness, how people can love one another and how life can keep them from coming together. Though I think the better message and theme of this film is distance. Distance from each other, distance from our desires, and distance from emotions. The film's 3-act structure conveys this message easily through its episodic structure through life of the male protagonist Takagi. As episode 1 quickly separates the two love interests Takagi and Akari, the two met in school and quickly connected through their time spent in the library. Though because both characters have parents that move frequently due to their jobs, Takagi and Akari spent the entirety of the first episode exchanging letters through the mail. There's a physical distance between the two, Akari mentioning in one of her letters that she bets Takagi would barely be able to recognize her. When Takagi was recounting his relationship with Akari, how they met and such, he felt that the two were kindred spirits destined to be together always, of course before their separation. However, when the two make a plan to attend the same middle school, Akari's parents move her further away from the already big distance put forth from Takagi's parents, putting an even bigger physical distance between the two. Then there was this moment towards the end of the episode where the two make a plan to meet each other before moving day, and the snowy weather puts a strain on their plan. Their plan to meet at Akari station at 7 was further pushed back after the snow causes a 2-hour delay. Takagi notes that every minute felt like an eternity. He was certain that she would be gone by the time that he arrived. And in that night, the two share a kiss, causing Takagi to realize that the two may never be together with the uncertainty of time. Though at least he had this moment to cherish. Then the second episode, titled Cosmonaut, explores the distance of desire through the eyes of Kanae, a young girl from an island that Takagi's family relocated to during his middle school years. It's immediately evident that she loves Takagi as she structures her day-to-day to be physically near him, despite the distance between her desire to confess her love to him. Every day she anguishes over not being able to tell him how she feels, studying hard to get the grades she needs to follow him into high school, waiting outside the school to meet with Takagi after the end of archery club, refusing rides from her sister so that she may ride her bike home with Takagi, though never finding the courage to tell him. There's also a distance found in Takagi during this episode as well. Kanae notes that she often finds him messaging someone on his phone and wishing for it to be her, despite being able to physically be next to him. This is due to Takagi desiring to talk to someone who is not near him. He finds himself typing out messages with no one to send. And though I thought it was Akari, when checking the kanji on the cell phone, there was no sender inputted into the phone. The two may have already become estranged. Then when pondering the upcoming space launch he and Kanae later witness on the walk home, Takagi notes how lonesome the trip to the edge of the universe may be while picturing himself next to Akari. Even years after the night the two spent together, he continues to think of her, expanding the distance between his desire to be with her. Eventually, Kanae comes to terms with not expressing her feelings to Takagi after the realization that even if she expressed them to him, he would not reciprocate since he's always looked beyond her, desiring something that is out of his reach. Finally, the third episode of the film explores the distance of emotions in adulthood with Takagi, his girlfriend, Akari, and her fiancé. Though certainly by now the two are completely estranged, Akari's moved on and ready to marry. Despite the two now living in the same city, Tokyo, Akari and Takagi are at an all-time distance from each other as she's emotionally unavailable, preparing to marry another man. Takagi and the girl he's been dating are emotionally drifting from one another despite her constant efforts to save whatever it is that they're doing. Takagi going as far as ignoring her calls, she still messages him saying, "I still love you." And Takagi has found himself emotionally distant from his feelings as a depressed adult, becoming emotionally numb to what he believes and whatever it is that he's been searching for. Earlier in the day, Takagi and Akari recount that time as 13-year-olds they spent together, but when the two are the closest they've come to each other in years at a train cross, they walk right past each other. Takagi nudges on the urge to turn around and look at her, feeling that she would do the same. A train puts another distance between them at the moment that the train crosses, but when it's passed, she was no longer there. Takagi was still clenching onto the hope that the two may be together someday, and when the opportunity presented itself, Akari was already gone. So I suppose after writing this, there's something to be said about the general unfairness of life. It's unfair that Takagi and Akari were separated because of their parents. It's unfair that Takagi never had eyes for Kanae. And it's unfair that Takagi drifted emotionally from the girl he dated despite her efforts to save their relationship. But that distance thing, I think, is the better motif of the film. The spacecraft reached this distance outside the solar system by the end of the film, and when Takagi found no one on the other side of the train track, he turns around smiling because he can now move on from that weight he's been carrying all these years, wishing to be closer to Akari. Hey everybody, so this is the part of the video where I'm supposed to tell you to rate, comment, and subscribe, so rate, comment, and subscribe. I also couldn't figure out a clever way to tell you to join me on the next video and then, say bye-cha. So I'm kind of doing this off the cuff to tell you that this is the end of the video, so bye-cha.